With nearly 50,000 items capturing our lives and stories, the collection at the Seiling Waterloo Region Museum is the most comprehensive of any local museum in Canada. These artifacts' origins range from the 1500s to the modern era and are lovingly obtained by and preserved in the museum's state-of-the-art Curatorial Centre. The acquisition and safekeeping of these items provides a comprehensive visual history of the region and its stories. But the effort to preserve the past also serves the community in understanding the present and navigating the future.
If you don't have the history, and this sounds so cliche, you really don't know where you're coming from. And I think we're trying to help community nowadays make sense of their past and make sense of current events as well. So sometimes, things that might not seem related to a historic context, they really are. And to dig and be able to share that and give some maybe insight into past events to contemporary people is very, very important. I'm responsible for the artifact collection for the museums. I'm the first point of contact for donors, so if someone wants to donate something to our museums, I'm the first person they contact, and I sort of walk through all our procedures and our criteria and things like that, and then make the decision on whether or not to accept an object for the collection. So this is a barrel boat that was made by Maggie Moyer in the 1920s. And Maggie ran a rooming house, basically. And the instructions to build one of these came in a Popular Mechanics magazine. And all her boarders bet her that she would never build one by herself and sail it down the Grand River. So in 1921, she went from Bloomingdale to Bridgeport on the Grand. It was a big deal. There was like newspaper articles about her. Hundreds of spectators lined the river and watched her basically paddle this barrel. I just love that that's a story and that someone kept this for so long and eventually donated it. One of the benefits of the job is it's not a boring every day is the same. It really does depend on what's happening. So early dental tools like this one, so pre-1850 kind of, or around that time period, were often called dental keys because they look like a key from the same time period. And these were basically what were used to pull teeth. So there wouldn't be any painkillers or anesthetic, maybe whiskey, I'm not sure. But this would hook around as far down around the bottom of your tooth as possible and would sort of lock in place, and then the tooth would be pulled out. So dentists weren't really a profession until the late 1800s. And so before that, sort of anybody could kind of pull your teeth. Barbers often did, and that's where the idea of the striped red and white barber pole comes from, is that after they pulled somebody's teeth, they would have to stop the bleeding, and then they would hang the cloths outside, which would be basically red and white at the point. So that's where the idea came from. So one of the big challenges is being diplomatic with donors, obviously. Everything that we are offered, we literally cannot accept. So you have to be very, careful on how you deal with people, because oftentimes these are their personal family artifacts and they're very important to them. And so that's one of the challenges. You say no a lot. One of the things, and I think people find this funny, that we get offered on, I would say, a weekly basis are pianos and organs. We can't take them. We really can't. We only collect things that were either made in Waterloo Region or have a very, very strong history of use. This is outside of our archaeology collection, which is much older. This is probably one of the oldest pieces we have in the collection. We think it dates to about contact, so like 1500. And we have had archaeologists look at it, so they know that no metal tools were used to make this. It would be a tree trunk that would probably be 3 times the size of the piece we have. So it would be felled and then basically lit on fire, and then the charcoal would be chopped out with stone tools to create a canoe. And these weren't really portable, they were used on lakes. So this one was found submerged at Bushland Lake. They would use these to cross the lakes and stuff, and then apparently in the wintertime they would load them with stones and sink them so that they didn't dry out over the winter months. And then in the spring you would take the stones out and try to bring it back up. We collect from all time periods. So what we're mandated to do is collect geographically from Waterloo Region. So that includes the 3 cities, so Waterloo, Kitchener, and Cambridge, and then the surrounding townships. And then there's no age that we're specifically interested in. We do collect very modern things, which I think is surprising to a lot of donors, but we are looking for things that are made locally. So if there's, for example, we have early blackberries in the collection because they're made locally. We're not going to be able to find them now. And so we'd like to get those things while they're in prime condition and that while they're accessible. And we can record the information about the history of that company and what this model is and what it was supposed to do. So things like that I think are sort of the new sort of direction that a lot of museums are going. We're preserving the community's stories and objects, and that is really our goal. We use them for exhibits and all that sort of stuff, but if we didn't actually have the collection, we wouldn't be able to create those exhibits and share those stories. So I think having the core collection and having people donate things to us and collecting for the community, which is really what we're doing, is the most vital part of the museum's operation.